Welcome back, everybody, or if you're new to the channel, my name's Warren and I'm the Ohio Nerd. I've been a fan and collector of all things toy goodness for as long as I can remember. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about my first ever memory of going to see Star Wars in the theater. So before I get into the story, I figure I better preface it with, my age and stuff for when it happened. So, I was born in 1998, and when episode 1 came out, I would have been 1. And when episode 2 came out, I was 4. Now, for episode 2, that's really when my Star Wars memories and toy collection memories really start coming in to memory. Because I can remember my 4th birthday really well. And I can even remember my 5th birthday. And the presents I got and being with my friends. So those are 2 birthdays that I can really start to remember. But I don't actually remember going to see episode 2 in the theaters. Although I know my dad took me to see it. Because he's told me about it. So episode 3, I would have been 7 years old, was actually my first ever memory of going to see Star Wars. And let me tell you, it is not a disappointing memory to have at all. I had such a great time, so I'm going to share that with you. One of the best things about going to see Star Wars for me for the premieres was it was more than just going to see Star Wars. It has been an experience. My dad would take me, we would spend some good old-fashioned father-son time together, and just have a blast. So when episode 3 came out, Burger King had kids meal toys that were Star Wars themed, obviously, since Star Wars was coming out. So we went to Burger King beforehand and got a couple kids meals. I know because, I think I got 1 kids meal, my dad got whatever he got, but we bought a couple extra toys because during that time I was trying to collect all the Burger King toys, and I remember how hard it was to find the Darth Vader that you'd put the Anakin in and the 2 pieces would come together. I'll insert a picture of that right here so you guys can see that, and it was just so much fun to track those down. My dad actually tracked that one down because after work, he'd come home, he'd drive by a Burger King, and he'd stop and check for me. So he was finally able to get that. I did not get that during the premiere, though. So we went to Burger King, and we had, Star Wars meal, which was awesome. And then after we went to Burger King, we met my mom, and my mom dressed me up in my Darth Vader costume. So for my birthday that year, my birthday's on May 2nd, I got the Darth Vader voice changing helmet, which was awesome. So I had the voice changing helmet, right? So I would wear the voice changing helmet, and then I had, I think it was Ruby's, had the, it was a more deluxe version that had the rubber chest piece for the Darth Vader costume, and I had that, and then to make it look like a cape, my mom turned one of her black dresses into a really cool big cape. And I remember I had, for black shoes, because I didn't have Darth Vader boots, I had not Heelys, not Heelys, but it was a brand similar to Heelys that had rollerblades, and you'd push these buttons on the side and the rollerblades would pop out. I had those that were black, so I remember this costume really well, because this is such a good memory for me. So they'll have the little wheels, you'd poke them, and they'd pop out, and you could skate around. So not only was I a cool Darth Vader, I was a cool roller skating Darth Vader, which was awesome. So after I got all dressed up, we went to the theater, and obviously it's a Star Wars movie, and we went to the premiere. So we got there early to wait in line inside the theater. And they let us go into the theater, and we met one of my dad's really good friends from work. And that was really fun. We met him, and we sat with him. I'd never really met him before, but apparently, obviously he was a big Star Wars fan. So that was fun. So we got to sit there, talk Star Wars, speculate on the movie as much as a 7-year-old could speculate on the movie with my dad and his friend. And so I was all dressed up like Darth Vader. Well, another guy who was, probably 20s or 30s, comes in wearing a bathrobe Jedi outfit. Not a super Rebel Legion worthy Jedi outfit, but a homemade one, similar to how my Darth Vader costume was a cobbling together of a bunch of pieces to make a homemade costume. So we had that for the Jedi, and he's like, "Hey, you want a lightsaber fight right here?" So there's at our movie theater, there's a section of seats, a handicap section that's flat and has the handicap seats and a walkway, and then below that there's more regular movie theater seating. So he's like, "Let's lightsaber fight," and I'm like, "Dad, can I lightsaber fight?" He's like, "Yeah, go for it." So I had a lightsaber, and we got in this little section, and we had just an awesome lightsaber fight. Our lightsabers, lit up. The whole movie theater was yelling and clapping and stuff. It was so much fun, and I won the lightsaber fights, of course, because I was a 7-year-old kid, so he let me win. But it was just so cool to think I beat him in a lightsaber fight. Oh, it was great. So we're sitting there waiting for the movie to start, and I had never had movie theater candy, so growing up, my family, we'd either bring it ourselves, we'd get drinks there and popcorn, but candy was a no-go because it was just really too expensive for us. So we'd either bring it ourselves, or, you just didn't have candy. So normally we just didn't have candy. But my dad's friend went out and bought Sour Patch Kids. So I had never had those before, and I was like, what are those? And he let me have some, and he got me a box of those. So my dad's friend gave me Sour Patch Kids, so I'm sitting there like a king, had my, large soda, Mr. Pibb. Whenever I go to the movie theaters, I get Mr. Pibb. Me and my dad had our tub of popcorn. I had my Sour Patch Kids, and I thought it was so cool because I had candy at the movie theater, dressed up like Darth Vader. I am just living it up. And of course, the movie starts. You hit the big opening credits. You get all the excitement, all the roar, everyone yelling and cheering, and then you have the movie. So for the movie itself, I actually don't remember much as far as reaction stuff during the movie, but for, I remember what scene and stuff. I remember people got really hyped on things. I can distinctly remember the theater going crazy when, the big opening crawl came in, and everyone's just going nuts, and there's lightsabers waving around the theater all lit up. Back before the crazy Batman killer guy ruined dressing up in costumes and bringing fake weapons to movies. Just waving them around, glow in the dark, everyone hooting and hollering. It was so much fun. And I can remember just being so focused on that screen, that giant movie screen with the great sound system, the only true way to experience a Star Wars movie, and just eating it up every moment of that movie. And I can remember at the very end, Darth Vader breaks on the table, Obi-Wan and Yoda are running off, and, people cheering and stuff then. Standing ovation, I can distinctly remember everyone, getting up, clapping, and then it was time to go. So when it came out, I remember that I had school the next day. And my parents weren't really big on skipping school. You did not skip school. Well, maybe on occasion, but for the most part, never skip school unless Grandpa had something planned. That was the only way you got to skip school, was if Grandpa called up and said, "Hey, we're going fishing," or something like that. Because my parents weren't going to argue with Grandpa. But for Star Wars, had to go to school the next day. And that was a midnight showing. That was before they did, the 7 o'clock showings like they do today. So it is getting late. And I can remember just driving home down the back roads. Dad took the back roads so that we could sit and talk about the movie longer. And his old blue truck, just driving back, talking about the movie, and just how great that was. So that is barely my first ever memory of Star Wars, going to see it in the theaters, that is. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed hearing from me. I would love to hear your first memories about going to see a Star Wars movie, or whatever favorite movie franchise you have, in the comments below. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you can get more great videos. Have a great day, and may the Force be with you.